if you found one of these in the street? Would you pick it up and hand it in? Would you pick it up and keep it for yourself? Or would you pick it up, go to the pub, buy the first round, and not tell your mates that you actually found the money on the floor? Or would you do some good with it? Imagine you're sat on a really big sofa, surrounded by luxury, everything is pristine. And as you look out through the windows, you can see a pool. And opposite you is one of the world's most famous actors and heartthrobs, George Clooney. Now, just to clear up a couple of questions, I get asked this quite a lot. Did I touch him? Yes. Is he beautiful?
Oh.
Yes, yes, and thoroughly yes. So, I'm a filmmaker, and luckily I had the opportunity to film a documentary with George Clooney for American TV all about social causes. And I was sat there, just a few kind of meters away from him, looking at his beautiful face. And I was thinking about my dad, because my dad had got me into filmmaking, video, and unfortunately he died from cancer at 58. And I was thinking at that moment how proud he would be knowing that I was there, sat opposite this lovely guy. And at that point I'd just become a dad as well. My son Albie was 6 months old, and my dad was a really good community member. He was always doing things for other people. I was kind of thinking, how can I be a better dad to my son? How can I be more like my dad? And I was looking through the camera at George, still very beautiful, and he was talking about the fact that we have a duty to be more compassionate in our community. And I ended up becoming inspired by George, looking through that lens. And I thought, I've got to step up and do more good. Be more like my dad. So we did the interview, which was amazing. He said some inspiring things. And as we were packing up our film gear, in walked, with his friend and my ultimate childhood hero, Bill Murray. And he came up to me and shook my hand, and I was looking at Bill, lost in translation. Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day. I mean, I probably shouldn't have said the kind of films that he's already starred in. He probably knows that already. But I was thinking, this day is getting really, really surreal. And even better, I was thinking, this is Bill Murray, my absolute childhood hero, shaking my hand. I've been in George's house, and now I've met my ultimate hero. So on the way home, I was feeling lucky. And I bought a lottery scratch card for the first time. I thought, I'm in the zone. I scratched off the first two numbers. You had to match 3, and then you got the amount. I scratched off the first two numbers. It was £250,000. I thought, I'm going to be a quarter of a millionaire. I scratched off the next number, £20. Ooh. Scratched off the next number, another 20. Ooh. Scratched off the third number. Come on. £20. Ooh. Still a winner. So I was driving home thinking I've been inspired by George. I've met my hero, Bill Murray. I've won some money. Perhaps I need to do something good. Perhaps this has all happened for a reason. So a couple of weeks after that, I came across Stefan, a big issue seller near where I used to work. And occasionally I'd buy him lunch. And on this one particular day, I remembered I had this winning £20 on me. So I told him to pack away his magazines brought him into the supermarket, gave him a basket, and told him to fill it up. Treats on me. And we went around the supermarket, filled it up with loads of essentials that we all kind of take for granted. And outside, I could see he was emotional. And he gave me this big, big, tight hug. And he kissed my cheek. And he tapped his heart. He said, my brother, my brother. I felt warm. I felt amazing. I felt connected. And I wanted to do more of it. We Make Good Happen started off as a personal project, inspired by George Clooney, after meeting Bill Murray, to be more like my dad, to carry on his legacy. There's my son Albie, there's my dad. And it started off as a personal project, but has since grown into a movement of people that want to do kind things, that want to do good deeds for other people. So I'd love it if you want to get involved. So coming back to the £10, I really did question and think, what actually would people do if people found a £10 in the street? So on Groundhog Day, the Bill Murray connection again, I hid a number of £10 notes in envelopes around the city, took pictures of their location, put them up on social media, and it turned into this kind of good deed treasure hunt. And inside were 2 rules. 1, don't spend it on yourself. Secondly, do some good with it. And I really didn't know whether anyone would get behind it, whether anyone would actually do any good. They did. There was Grace. She bought some random flowers, gave it to an old lady, and she looks very happy because she had just come out of hospital and was recovering from a heart attack, and it made her day. There was Dale. He found a £10. He told his work colleagues about it. They turned it into £150. He decided he wanted to give back to the kids, turned it into 150 Easter eggs. He dressed up as a bunny. I went down and helped him deliver those 150 Easter eggs to the kids on the ward. Then there were people that turned that £10 into even more money. There was one guy that turned it into nearly £500, gave it to a homeless charity. There was the lovely Bethan, who put a family party on and turned that £10 into £2,000, which he then gifted to children's charities. And it's really cool to think, well, that £10 almost had like a 20,000% increase. Then there was John. He turned his £10 into 10 pences, 10p's and 20p's, and he put them all by the toilet where you have to pay to go in. I think it's 30p, saying have a free wee on us. My favourite, because the idea went viral and people all around the UK started doing their own tenner for good. This guy Ben in Bristol, there was a guy, homeless guy, asking for some money. And he brought him into his house, gave him a cup of tea, and listened to his story. And the homeless guy got back in touch and said that he's now got his benefits sorted, a job sorted, and his house sorted, all because Ben had listened to him and had given him hope. And people started doing the idea, this tenner for good idea, with the same 2 rules in America, in Europe, and then Russell Howard did it on his Good Deeds television program as well. And he did 100. So already the kind of ripple effect had started taking place, the domino of happiness had started taking place. And of course, when you get TV involved, there's always going to be one. Found body of tenors, went to the pub. I think kids actually come up with the best ideas. If you give them a £10 and say, come up with some cool, creative and compassionate ideas to do with that £10, it's usually the kids that come up with the best ideas. Because they're less restricted, they don't feel like they've got any kind of social norms or social barriers, I guess. And this school in Copthorne did a load of tenner for goods. They put on parties for elderly people in the care home. They made cakes. They spent money on makeup and nail varnish and glammed up all the old ladies in the care home. Then there were the brownies. As well as making a big kind of bucket of sweets and treats, and they went round the hospital one night. They made cards, get well cards for patients, which they went round and delivered to the patients. And they made thank you cards for nurses and brought them to tears by showing how grateful they were of the job that they do. I try and do a few tenner for goods, and this is one of the ones that's been most effective. I used a tenner for goods to go and volunteer for a charity in Bristol called Decky. There I met a guy called Adam from Taking Pictures, Changing Lives, who gifts and donates his time and photographic skills for charities that can't afford professional photos and professional films. I said I'd love to get involved. He invited me out to Ghana and Uganda, and we self-funded our trips. And we went out and documented and told the stories of these cool things that are happening because of this Hope for Children getting involved in this slum in Kampala. What was really nice, we produced some films and photos for free. And the CEO of the charity said that the films and the photos were instrumental in them raising £250,000 in 3 months. And then it was match funded by the government, and it was turned into £500,000. So it's really cool to think that that £10 essentially helped a charity raise £500,000. And I think it shows that small acorns do really can turn into big ideas. We don't have to meet our heroes. We don't have to raise 250k. We do need to do something. What you can do. Number one, commit to some time, money, or skill a month. You could stick up the £10, your kitchen, your community, or business, and come up with a cool, creative, and compassionate idea to make a difference. And secondly, go and do some good with it. Thank you.